Come on. There we go. All right. So this is week 7. This is our first meeting for speech and debate. I will record all of my lessons. So that is something I will do. And let me show you really quick where you'll find them posted. So whether you're a scholar student or you come to class and stuff, what I do every week, and I do this in my other classes. So, I find it works really well for students, especially if you miss class or if you need to go back and watch something. I have what's called lesson and recording page. So I put this right above week 7. So I'm going to keep the same format of the modules that you've been doing. Yeah, so I'm gonna keep the same format that you've had, okay? And so my personal philosophy, and I do this with all my classes. So if somebody has me, they'll know that I'm not just making this up, all right? So for each week, there'll be a page and I'll add one each week. So it'll appear every Monday. When we click on this, you can kind of get a feel of what it is. And it shows you each day what we're doing. So like today, we're going to get into the TED Talk here in a second. Obviously, most of the time, we won't have this much intro stuff, but just because of the shift of the class and questions, which are also important. But most of the time, we'll be able to jump right into our topic. So it tells you what we're doing, okay, what we're doing each day. Then on Friday, it tells you what's due. And I even put when they close. So again, that 2-week window that I talked about, as long as the deadline is before the end of the quarter. So sometimes at the end of the quarter, I can't give the full 2 weeks, right? Because the end of the quarter is there. But throughout the whole quarter, the 2 weeks is that window, but also then I won't reopen, right? Because I gave double the time. So this is where I'll put the recordings. So like after today's, I get it, I upload it to YouTube, and then I put it right here. And so you can literally find recordings of every single class. Yes, absolutely. And this has worked really well in my government econ classes. Again, if I move too fast, if you just need whatever you need, this is super helpful. Also, scholar students really like this. And so, yes, exactly. And these pages are really nice so that you can see what's due. And then as we move down, then I'll have the list of what's past due and when it's closing. So again, those emergency, it's end of the quarter. How do I bring up my grade? Right? You guys do it as teachers. We roll our eyes. We're like, oh my gosh. But this is then where that running list is, that each week updates so that students can see exactly. No, and I want you to keep your A. Okay. So that's another thing I want to assure you of. I think I'm a very fair grader. I'm clear with my expectations, but that's why the rubrics are there. So you can see exactly what you need to do. And that's why resubmission is fine. So if there's something that I don't feel is meeting the standard, you can see that, and then you can improve it and you can then turn it back in. Okay, but this page is really helpful. All right, so I do this in all my classes and students really like that. All right, so let's jump over to our actual lesson. We got 20 minutes, so let's do it so that we can get it as I promised, or the goal is to get things done in class. So I want to make sure that I start out keeping my word, right? That would not be good first day, not keeping my word. So there's going to be 2 things we're going to focus on. So today we're going to focus on the TED Talk, and then our debate of the week or topic of the week is going to be on plastics, more focusing on like the plastic water bottle debate. Okay. And then, like I said, first couple weeks, we'll do a survey here next week or the following week, probably beginning of week 9. And then we'll pick from those topics for 4th quarter. All right. So bear with me. I appreciate your patience on that. All right. So go ahead and go into Canvas. You're going to want to do this with me because you're going to want to open the video sheet so that while we watch the video, you can answer questions. All right, so I'll give you a second. Go into modules, go to week 7, and open up that Tuesday link, the TED Talk link. All right. So I'll give you a second. Go there. So this is where that participation in class is going to be really important. You do stuff with me, you should be able to get them done in class. If you don't participate with me, then the natural consequences are you do it independently. Okay, give me a thumbs up once you're there or you're getting there. Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so once we're there, step 1, we're gonna open up the video sheet. So go ahead and open it and make a copy. So it's gonna look like this once you open it. And you're gonna wanna have this open as we're watching the video, then you can go back and forth and kind of answer those questions, okay? And then we should have a little bit of time at the end. The video is only about 10 minutes. We should have some time at the end to go back and go over these to make sure that you're good. They don't need to be huge responses. They can be a phrase is fine, a sentence is fine. I don't need a paragraph for these. These are pretty short response. Okay, so once that's open, okay, I'm a big advocate of having things organized. Anybody else an organizer person? So if you don't already, create a speech and debate folder in your Google Drive, save it there, and then make it shareable so that when you submit it to me, so you want to do anyone with the link, when you submit it to me, I can open it. So always when you open a doc, right, you're going to save it to your Google Drive, to your class folder, whichever class that is, and then you want to make it shareable. All right, I'm going to jump back over. All right, and I even listed those things. Okay, so we're going to watch this TED Talk, and it's about a high school in New Mexico, and they're promoting why speech and debate programs are so important. Okay, so stuff probably you already kind of know, but it doesn't hurt to reiterate and maybe even hear the realistic application of them then after high school into the real world when you're interviewing and you're trying to get a job and things like that. All right, so I'm going to project this. All right, we'll watch this together, and you can answer the questions as you go through. So here we go.
Think back to freshman year of high school. Wasn't it just the most magical year of your life? Yeah, didn't think so. I moved to Albuquerque from Louisiana at the beginning of my 9th grade year. I was the new kid in a large public high school, so I didn't know anybody. But I did make friends with a rock outside hallway A, where I would spend most of my lunches alone. Until one day, my 9th grade English teacher, also the speech and debate coach, Mr. Newsom, stopped by and said, "Hey, you should join speech and debate." Now, given that this was the first time that anyone outside my own family had spoken to me in this new town, it was an issue I decided to take to heart. And to this day, I consider that moment to be the most transformative moment of my life. It was through speech and debate that I found my first friends. I found a passion. I found a career. I found my voice. Coaching speech and debate for the past 18 years has been incredibly rewarding. And that's where Gina comes in.
At the beginning of my freshman year, I was convinced I was going to be the next LeBron. I know, sorry, Cleveland, too soon. But growing up in our small town, almost everyone had one interest in common: sports. And the first 14 years of my life revolved around playing basketball. As high school began, I started to think ahead to college, and I realized I was going to need more skills than my sick crossover and sweet layup in order to get by. That's when I walked into room 406 to have my first IEP meeting with Mr. Smith. He told me, "You should join speech and debate." That was the most terrifying idea I had ever heard of by that point in my life. But somehow, Mr. Smith convinced me that voluntarily spending all of my weekends competing in public speaking contests was the best use of my time. From that moment forward, speech and debate not only helped me pursue my dreams, but it also prepared me for life after high school and the painful task of finally growing up and getting a job.
Now, a recent LinkedIn survey of hiring managers across the country found that the skill most needed.
Here's question number 1.
In the workplace and the skill most lacking from new employees was the same one. It wasn't technology, it wasn't coding, it wasn't even math, it was communication. Now, given that this is the greatest deficit facing our workplace, how are our schools preparing for that reality? Is there a required course on communication or public speaking anywhere in the K through 12 curriculum? Not in New Mexico. And we already know that students are spending hundreds of hours every year on standardized tests. And that doesn't include the most common form of assessment still used by teachers to this day, which is the pen and paper test. Now, those of you not in school anymore, think about that for a second. When's the last time you were asked to take a pen and paper test? Now think about how often are you forced to communicate with your boss, with your coworkers, with your spouse, most importantly, your barista. Maybe, just maybe, this is all rooted in what has been documented as humanity's greatest fear. Not spiders, not snakes, not heights, not even death. but public speaking.
Unfortunately, schools just aren't doing enough to help students overcome this fear, either inside or outside of the classroom. In the Albuquerque public school system, of the 13 traditional high schools, just 7 offer a speech and debate program. If I was to sit down with the principals of those 6 other schools, I would tell them speech and debate is the most transformative experience you can offer your students, not only academically, but in life as well. It is the reason I got into my dream school. It is the reason I feel like I can do anything I set my mind to.
So what is this activity that is transforming lives all across the country? Isn't speech and debate just a bunch of nerdy kids in ill-fitting suits running around with dictionaries arguing about everything? Well, yeah, it is that. But it's also so much more. In the speech and debate world, there are a variety of different events, so there is literally something for everybody. First, there is interpretation.
In the form of humorous, dramatic, and duo, where you act out scenes from different plays, books, and other published works. One person can even play the part of several different characters. The next event is prose and poetry,
where students recite a series of poems and stories that are linked by a common theme. There's also informative speaking,
where you have 10 minutes to teach the audience about any topic of interest to you, be it backyard chickens, string theory, or the history of the potato. You also have original oratory,
where your goal is to persuade your audience that there's a problem in society that needs fixing. Think competitive TED Talk. The next event is extemporaneous speaking,
where you draw a topic out of an envelope about a current event, and you have 30 minutes to write and memorize a 7-minute speech, answering a question like, how should the international community help rebuild Syria when the war ends? And besides the speech events, there are 4 different debate events. The first debate event is Lincoln-Douglas debate.
This is a one-on-one debate where topics relate to philosophy and values and morality. The topics change every 2 months and are related to things like civil disobedience, capital punishment, or animal rights. The next debate event is policy debate.
A 2-on-2 debate where students spend all year on one topic related to U.S. government policy. Heavily dependent on evidence, academic journals, and news articles, topics can range from education to immigration to foreign relations. You also have public forum debate.
Another 2-on-2 debate where the topics change every month because they are ripped from the headlines. Issues related to the Supreme Court, North Korea, or gun control. And the final event is congressional debate,
where students assume the roles of legislators by drafting legislation, using parliamentary procedure, and debating whether a bill should be passed or not.
Now, given our current political climate, our current political discourse, what activity could be more important? The ability to speak, the willingness to listen, the empathy to understand multiple perspectives. In a debate, you don't get to choose which side you're going to support because you have to be ready for all sides. This idea, which is one of the oldest in civilization, just might be needed now more than ever. So, Gina, how do we get people talking today?
There is no excuse for every middle school and every high school in the state of New Mexico not to offer a program. It will entirely transform the culture of your school. If you're an administrator, get a program going now at your school because you're limiting your students' opportunities otherwise. If you're a teacher, start sponsoring a program immediately. If you're a student, find a teacher willing to sponsor. If you cannot find one, go to your principal and demand one. Connect with the local speech and debate community in order to find the resources you need to get started. Because the timing to get started is perfect. In June 2020, Albuquerque will host the world's largest academic competition, the National Speech and Debate Tournament. It is one of the largest conferences ever hosted in Albuquerque, with over 10,000 visitors from across the country and across the globe, and over $10 million in economic impact. This isn't just some run-of-the-mill after-school club. This activity can literally transform our entire community and improve education. Our hope is by that time, every middle school and every high school in the state of New Mexico will offer a program.
And beyond just getting involved in speech and debate, any school with any classroom and any academic discipline can incorporate more speaking assessments into the classroom. For example, one day I was giving a reading quiz on the Odyssey. It was your traditional content assessment where I asked a series of questions, students turned in the answers. When one student failed the quiz miserably, I spoke to him after school. Turns out he did read, and turns out he could verbally tell me everything he had read. Oral assessments can help students of all ability levels. It's because these critical thinking, researching, and speaking skills are going to increase the academic outcomes of all students. But beyond just academics, communication is also the foundation on which we build relationships.
Through speech and debate, I was able to meet Trey, my closest mentor, one of my greatest friends, someone who changed the course of my life, and the first person I called when I got into Stanford. I was also able to meet people from all across New Mexico and even the country.
And that first teacher who talked to me on that rock all those years ago remains a good friend to this day. And it was that simple act of offering me the opportunity to join the program that changed the entire trajectory of my life. And Gina, a student I took the time to get to know 4 years ago, remains an important person in my life and changed everything I thought I knew about what students were capable of.
I've learned that you can be at the top of your field, whether that be science, engineering, or law. But if you cannot communicate that knowledge, if you cannot share that expertise, it doesn't matter.
And in a world dominated by alternative facts, fake news, Twitter echo chambers, and the most divisive political climate in 100 years, this willingness to listen, this confidence to share your voice, just might be the most transformative thing we can do in education right now.
All right. We're going to go over them. Don't worry. Okay, we're going to go over them. I know it went kind of fast, especially those list ones, right? Like if you're not a fast typer, it's like it says. So we'll go over them and stuff. So what I love about this is helping to kind of bring to mind something that a lot of you probably already know, right? It's easy to be emotional. It's easy to have an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. People get often very, very emotional, but have nothing to back it up. And so part of being successful in life and not falling apart because someone doesn't agree with you or someone doesn't see it your way or you get frustrated with another opinion or political party or whatever it is being informed and understanding not only what are the facts to support your opinion, but also understanding your opponent's opinion. Part of being one of the best ways of being a good debater is actually understanding both sides and having facts that you can counteract of both sides. So that's something that we're going to be doing when we do our weekly topics. It's not just researching the side that you agree with, but also finding statistics or stats or arguments that doesn't mean you have to agree, but have stability in their own argument, okay, and stuff. So yes, exactly. And as a teacher, this has been such a valuable skill. That's why I was actually, when they came to me with this class, I was like, wait, I've never, this is kind of last minute stuff, but that's one of the things I love in education is that it's supposed to be about looking at facts and all sides. It shouldn't be an agenda. Education, whenever a teacher is coming in with an agenda and telling you it has to be this way or something like that. Now, outside of like 2 + 2 is 4, or, the World War II happened, like certain things are facts, but you understand what I mean. It's important to allow people to have, and that's one of the great things about this country is freedom of speech is that the ability to disagree. And if you can't take someone else's opinion, not disagreeing with you, you're going to have a really miserable life. I'm just going to say, all right, it's not worth getting that upset about, but it makes you so much stronger when you can complete an argument. So let's go through it. All right. And so feel free to unmute or you can throw it in the chat. So let's just kind of go through them. All right. So number one, we won't always go through every question like this, but for today, we'll go through it. All right. What skill is most needed or lacking in the workplace, according to LinkedIn? And I can definitely attest to this over the last 15, this is my 14th year teaching. Communication is something I have noticed greatly decline in youth. Greatly decline in teenagers. The ability to go and let's say talk to a teacher about a grade or about a problem they're having, or advocate for themselves, especially if the teacher might disagree with them. But it's a skill you have to have. So communication. Is there a required communications or argument class in high school in Nevada? No. So speech and debate is an elective. It is not required. Now, hopefully in your English or maybe social studies classes, you've had opportunities for debate on a topic, to take something, so to take the idea or elements of speech and debate, but speech and debate itself is not required. Would you feel comfortable giving a public speech? So this one I kind of threw in there, like, how are you feeling on things? So that's really personal. For me, it depends on the topic. I am very comfortable talking about history. I'm very comfortable talking about government and those kind of things because I know a lot. So I feel that when I'm informed on a topic, then I am willing to take someone on that I might not agree with, and not feel threatened because I feel I have enough facts to not feel defensive, but to present my case. Now, if it was math or some science or biology, I would be like, I concede, I have no idea. So for me, how do you all feel? Are you comfortable? Does it depend? Or can you talk about anything? Anybody? Depends. Is it topic-based for you? Prue, is it topic-based for you? You could talk about anything. All right. Hey, that's good. That's a good quality to have. So we can all benefit in different ways, right? You could, talk about anything or something. So, I mean, if we know nothing, right, then we can certainly gain from speech and debate by making us a more confident speaker. If it depends, right, then maybe we become better at expanding our knowledge base and research. If we're good at talking about anything, then maybe we just become better at getting to the point and making sure that we're not just expressing opinion, but facts to support, right? So in any spectrum, there are things that we can gain from that, for sure, wherever you're at on that. So there are a variety of forms of activities within speech and debate. So there's interpretation. So these are practices or activities that are done within speech and debate, especially in traditional speech and debate like brick and mortar, to improve debate skills. So interpretation, acting out scenes, poetry, reciting poetry and putting in the emotion or the infusion of what it is, informative speaking, original oratory, so convincing an argument, convincing an audience, so getting up in the practice of convincing. And then the big word, extroversion, is speaking, right? Okay, so bringing that and being able to go back and forth. What are debate events? So these are official things that if you are in a speech and debate club and you go around to actual events and things like that, okay? Lincoln Douglas debate, so a one-on-one debate. Policy debate, 2-on-2, but like an all-year focus. Public forum debate, so 2-on-2, but the topics change monthly of what the current event or trend is. And then congressional debate, so the ability within politics to get something done. And think about this, every politician, they have to be a really good speech and debater. Yeah, so that's something that, like I said, wherever we are on the spectrum, if you're a good speaker, then sometimes that skill is not that you're afraid to speak, but maybe making sure your words count, right? Speaking doesn't make you, but we lose people, right, if we don't get to the point. So becoming more convincing in that, by getting to the point or having facts, you will actually retain your audience better, right? People will listen to you longer when they feel that there's not just opinion. And that makes you an even stronger speaker if you already are one. Okay, we're almost done with class, so I'm just going to kind of quickly, in a competitive debate, do you get to choose which side? No, it's assigned to you. So this is why it's really important that you are a good researcher. So that's part of what we're going to do. We're going to look at topics, we're going to talk about them, but then looking at sources. Because oftentimes, if you can debate, if you can defend a side you don't agree with, think what a good debater you are. Think of the skill. Get past the opinion, but wow, do you have the skill? When you can be convincing at a topic and an opinion that you don't agree with, that shows you have the art of communication and you have a skill. And so it's not just about convincing people, it's also having the skill even when you don't agree. How do you think personally that you can benefit from developing speech and debate skills? Okay, so again, kind of going back to the spectrum, maybe you're shy and so it will help you practice your speech. Maybe you're passionate, so it would help you become more competent in your speech and debate, getting to the point. Maybe by being more informed, you're more willing to talk to people. Maybe it will change the scope of your interest or your jobs. Maybe you'll research a topic or something, you'll become very passionate about or good at, and it could lead to a career opportunity. All these things can impact you and positively impact you in your life. Okay. It's also called manipulation. It can, but facts help, right? Facts help. Okay. Number 5, really quick. Yes, because I do need to end class. So number 5. Oh, number 6. Okay. Sorry, my things got off. It probably was like, I don't know how that happened. Oh, that one made. Okay. So number 5, which is showing on my number 6, is Links and Douglas debate, policy debate, public forum debate, and congressional debate. So if you missed total sections, and you can go back to the video and just pull those out really quick. All right, so I'll leave that up here for just a second, or you could take a picture with your phone real quick. All right, so what you need to do is once you have that done, make sure you saved it, make it shareable, turn it in. Here's the rubric. It's worth 10 points, okay? And then I've broken it down by question, okay? Obviously, answering correctly and all questions completely, that gets you the 10 points, all right? It's due by this Friday, and it's open till the 1st, all right? Thank you so much. I don't want to keep you late so you can get to your next class. I'll see you on tomorrow. All right, and we'll intro our first topic and go through that, and we'll spend a lot of this together. And so I so appreciate everybody, just your patience and flexibility and just kind of going on this journey together as you transition. All right, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. I'll see you everybody tomorrow, and I'll work more on names tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna work more on names. All right, thank you. Bye.